Welcome to Tales from the Jade Scroll,
a Chinese mythology podcast where ancient legends come to life.
Today's story is The Legend of the White Snake.
Part 1. I've heard this is one of China's greatest love stories.
It is. But before there was love, there was a journey. Let's begin. Long ago, hidden deep within China's misty mountains, lived two snake spirits.
Snake spirits?
That's right. After centuries of cultivation, they had gained magical powers and could take the form of human women. One was Bai Suzhen, a graceful white snake known for her kindness and wisdom. The other was Xiaoqing, a lively green snake whose adventurous spirit often brought a smile to Bai Suzhen's face.
Every adventure needs one friend who's always ready to say, "Come on, let's go!"
Xiaoqing certainly fit that description. Although they possessed remarkable magic, Bai Suzhen believed there was still something she could never learn in the mountains.
The human world?
She had watched people from afar for centuries. Their lives were short, yet they filled those lives with kindness, friendship, and love.
Maybe that's what made every moment so precious.
Bai Suzhen wanted to understand that feeling for herself. So together, she and Xiaoqing left the mountains they had called home for hundreds of years.
I imagine that wasn't an easy decision.
No, but sometimes the most important journeys begin with a single step into the unknown. Their destination was one of the most beautiful places in all of China, West Lake. After many days of traveling, Bai Suzhen and Xiaoqing finally reached West Lake.
I've seen paintings of West Lake before. Was it really that beautiful? It was. Even today, West Lake is considered one of the most beautiful places in China. Gentle waves reflected the blue sky, willow trees swayed in the breeze, and elegant bridges stretched across the peaceful water. Bai Suzhen paused for a moment, quietly taking in the view. After centuries in the mountains, this must have felt like a completely different world. It did. For the first time, she wasn't simply watching human life from far away. She was finally living among it. Children laughed as they played beside the lake. Boatmen welcomed travelers onto their boats. Merchants greeted visitors with friendly smiles as the delicious smell of freshly cooked food drifted through the streets. Xiaoqing probably wanted to stop at every food stall. Bai Suzhen had to remind her they had only just arrived. As they wandered through the busy streets, Bai Suzhen smiled. The human world wasn't perfect, but it was filled with warmth, kindness, and endless surprises. It sounds like she had finally found what she had been searching for. She believed she had. Little did she know that before the sun set over West Lake, destiny was already preparing an unforgettable meeting.
As Bai Suzhen and Xiaoqing continued exploring West Lake, they eventually arrived at the famous Broken Bridge. I've always wondered, why is it called Broken Bridge if it isn't broken? That's a question visitors still ask today. Despite its name, the bridge has stood for centuries and remains one of Westlake's most famous landmarks. As Bai Suzhen admired the peaceful view, a young scholar carrying several books hurried across the bridge. Lost in his thoughts, he accidentally bumped into Bai Suzhen.
Reading while walking? That almost never ends well.
Fortunately, neither of them was hurt. The young man immediately bowed. "Please forgive me," he said. "I wasn't paying attention." Bai Suzhen smiled kindly. "It's quite all right." The young man introduced himself. "My name is Xu Xian."
And this was the famous Xu Xian?
It was. Bai Suzhen introduced herself and Xiaoqing, and the three of them talked as they slowly crossed the bridge together. Xu Xian spoke with kindness and humility, never once realizing he was speaking to two snake spirits. I suppose Bai Suzhen didn't tell him that part.
some introductions are better saved for later. Before long, the conversation came to a natural end. Xu Xian politely wished them a pleasant day before continuing on his way. That was it? For the moment, yes. Neither of them realized they had just met someone who would change their life forever. As Bai Suzhen watched him disappear into the distance, a cool breeze swept across West Lake. Dark clouds slowly gathered overhead.
As Bai Suzhen, Xiaoqing, and Xiu Xian continued walking beside West Lake, the bright afternoon sky slowly disappeared behind dark clouds.
I don't think that's a good sign.
Neither did the people around them. Shopkeepers hurried to bring their goods inside, boatmen guided their boats back to shore, and visitors began looking for somewhere dry. A cool breeze swept across the lake. Then, the first raindrops began to fall.
It always starts with just a few drops.
It did, but only moments later, the gentle shower became a steady spring rain. Xiaoqing looked up at the sky.
I think we're getting soaked.
Bai Suzhen laughed softly. I believe you're right. The two of them looked around, but every nearby pavilion was already crowded with people escaping the rain.
And they still didn't have an umbrella.
Just then, Xiu Xian stopped walking. Without saying a word, he opened the umbrella he had been carrying. Then, he stepped beside Bai Suzhen. Please, he said, you should take this. Bai Suzhen looked surprised. But what about you? Xiu Xian smiled. We'll simply share it.
That's a much better answer than standing in the rain.
Bai Suzhen couldn't help but smile. She had met many people during her travels, but very few offered kindness without expecting anything in return. Thank you, she said. The three of them continued walking together beneath the umbrella, while the rain quietly covered West Lake.
The three of them continued walking beneath the umbrella as the spring rain gently fell over West Lake.
I still can't believe 3 people managed to fit under one umbrella.
It wasn't easy, but somehow they made it work. For a few moments, they simply enjoyed the peaceful sound of the rain. Then Xu Xian smiled. Have you visited Hangzhou before? Bai Suzhen shook her head. No, everything here feels new to us. Xu Xian looked around at the quiet lake. Then you've arrived at one of the most beautiful places in China. No matter how many times I come here, West Lake always feels different.
Do you come here often?
Xu Xian nodded. Whenever I have the chance. Walking here helps me clear my mind. Bai Suzhen smiled. You sound like someone who enjoys helping people. Xu Xian laughed softly. I hope to someday. I'm studying medicine.
Medicine?
Xu Xian nodded again. When I was young, a doctor once helped my family during a very difficult time. I've never forgotten that kindness. If I can help even a few people the way we were helped, I'll be happy.
That's a wonderful reason.
Bai Suzhen looked at Xu Xian with quiet admiration. I'm sure you'll become an excellent doctor. Xu Xian smiled, looking slightly embarrassed by the compliment.
I think Xiaoqing noticed that smile.
She certainly did, though she wisely kept her thoughts to herself. Together, the three of them continued strolling beside Westlake, while the gentle spring rain slowly faded. The rain slowly became lighter as the three of them continued walking through the streets of Hangzhou.
At least nobody was getting soaked anymore.
The umbrella had done its job well. People gradually returned to the streets. Shopkeepers welcomed customers back inside. Children laughed as they splashed through tiny puddles, and the city felt alive once again. Bai Suzhen watched everything with quiet fascination. The city changes so quickly. Xu Xian smiled. It does. Rain comes and goes, but people still have families to care for and work to do. Doesn't that ever become tiring? Xu Xian thought for a moment. Sometimes. But when you know someone is waiting for you at home, or when you're able to help another person, even a difficult day can become a good one.
I like the way he sees the world.
Bai Suzhen did too. Is that why you're studying medicine? Xu Xian nodded. When I was younger, a physician helped my family through a very difficult time. I've always wanted to repay that kindness by helping others. Bai Suzhen smiled. Then I think you'll become an excellent physician. Xu Xian lowered his head slightly. I still have much to learn.
He's kind and humble.
Xiaoqing quietly smiled. She had noticed that Bai Suzhen's conversations with Xu Xian were becoming a little longer, and neither of them seemed eager for the walk to end. Together, they continued through the peaceful streets of Hangzhou, beneath the now fading spring rain.
Before long, the rain came to an end, and soft afternoon sunlight began shining through the clouds.
Westlake looked even more beautiful after the rain.
The streets slowly filled with people once again. Shopkeepers returned to their stalls, children laughed as they ran past tiny puddles, and the fresh scent of rain lingered in the air. After walking a little farther, Xu Xian stopped in front of a quiet inn. "This is one of the nicest inns near Westlake," he said. "I hope you'll be comfortable here." Bai Suzhen looked at the building before turning back to Xu Xian. "You've been so kind to us today. I don't know how to thank you." Xu Xian smiled modestly. "There is no need to thank me. I'm simply glad I was able to help." "He's making it very difficult not to like him." Xiaoqian seemed to agree. As Bai Suzhen prepared to step inside the inn, Xiaoqian quietly pointed toward her hand.
Bai Suzhen, I think you're still carrying something.
Bai Suzhen looked down. She was still holding Xu Xian's umbrella. "Oh." She quickly turned around. "I'm so sorry. I nearly forgot." She carefully offered the umbrella back to him. Xu Xian gently pushed it back. "Please keep it. Spring weather changes quickly. You may still need it." Bai Suzhen hesitated. "Then how will I return it to you?" Xu Xian smiled. "I'm sure our paths will cross again."
That's a pretty confident prediction.
Bai Suzhen smiled as she held the umbrella close. "Then I'll look forward to seeing you again." The two exchanged one final smile before Xu Xian bowed politely and continued on his way. Bai Suzhen watched him disappear into the lively streets before quietly following Xiaoqian inside the inn. Inside their room, Bai Suzhen carefully leaned Xu Xian's umbrella against the wall before opening the window to let in the cool evening air.
Somehow, I don't think you're looking at the umbrella anymore.
Xiaoqing noticed Bai Suzhen staring out toward the streets below. "You're thinking about Xu Xian, aren't you?" Xiaoqing asked with a smile. Bai Suzhen laughed softly. "We've only known him for a single afternoon." Xiaoqing folded her arms. "Exactly. And I've never seen you smile this much in a single afternoon."
Xiaoqing isn't wasting any time.
Bai Suzhen shook her head. "You're imagining things." Xiaoqing walked over to the umbrella.
Really? Then why did you set his umbrella down more carefully than our luggage? Okay, that's actually a fair question.
Bai Suzhen couldn't think of an answer. After a moment, she quietly smiled. "He's different." "Different how?" Xiaoqing asked. "He never expected anything in return. He helped complete strangers simply because he wanted to. After all these years watching humans from the mountains, I finally understand why people speak so highly of kindness."
I like that. Xiaoqing nodded. I like him too. Although, I have a feeling someone else likes him even more. Bai Suzhen smiled, but said nothing. Outside, the last drops of rain slipped from the rooftops as evening quietly settled over Hangzhou.
The next morning, warm sunlight streamed through the window as Bai Suzhen slowly opened it to welcome the fresh spring air.
Yesterday's rain didn't last long.
Outside, Hangzhou had already come to life. Merchants arranged their goods, travelers crossed the bridges of West Lake, and boats once again glided across the calm water.
Bai Suzhen quietly picked up Xu Xian's umbrella. Xiaoqing noticed immediately. "You're looking at that umbrella again," Xiaoqing said with a smile. Bai Suzhen smiled. "I was thinking I should return it today." Xiaoqing tilted her head. "Should you? Or do you simply want another excuse to see Xu Xian?"
That's a difficult question to answer.
Bai Suzhen laughed softly. "Perhaps it's a little of both." Xiaoqing smiled. "I'm glad you admitted it." Bai Suzhen looked down at the umbrella. "Yesterday, I kept wondering why humans treasure kindness so deeply. Now I think I understand. A simple act of kindness can stay with someone long after the moment has passed. That's a beautiful thought." Xiaoqing nodded in agreement. "Then we should return it. Eventually." Bai Suzhen couldn't help laughing again. "Today." Xiaoqing raised her hands. "All right, today." The two sisters left the inn together, with Bai Suzhen carefully carrying the umbrella as they made their way toward Westlake once again. Somehow, I don't think either of them minded the walk.
The next morning, Bai Suzhen and Xiaoqing returned to West Lake with Xu Xian's umbrella carefully carried in Bai Suzhen's hands.
I have a feeling that umbrella is getting VIP treatment.
Xiaoqing couldn't resist smiling. "Be careful," she teased. "You might wear it out before you even return it." Bai Suzhen smiled. "I'm only trying to keep it in good condition." Xiaoqing raised an eyebrow. "Of course you are. Xiaoqing is definitely enjoying this." The two sisters slowly wandered along the lakeside. They crossed graceful stone bridges, admired blooming flowers, and watched boats drift peacefully across the water. Every now and then, Bai Suzhen quietly looked around. Xiaoqing noticed immediately. "Looking for someone?" she asked. Bai Suzhen laughed. "I'm looking for the owner of this umbrella." Xiaoqing smiled. "Naturally." They continued walking. Time passed, and although they met many friendly people, Xu Xian was nowhere to be seen. Bai Suzhen quietly sighed. Perhaps he has other plans today. Xiaoqing looked toward the busy streets. Hangzhou is a big city. Running into the same person twice isn't always easy. "That's true." Bai Suzhen nodded. "Even so, I'd still like to return this properly." The two sisters slowly wandered along the lakeside peaceful waters of Westlake, enjoying the beautiful spring morning together.
The two sisters continued strolling beside Westlake, enjoying the peaceful spring morning. Just as Bai Suzhen began thinking they should return another day, she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Miss Bai!"
Looks like someone found them after all.
Bai Suzhen turned around with a smile. Xu Xian hurried over, looking genuinely pleased to see them again. "I was hoping our paths would cross." Bai Suzhen carefully held out the umbrella. "I've been looking for you. Thank you for lending me your umbrella yesterday." Xu Xian accepted it with both hands. "I'm glad it was helpful." For a brief moment, the three of them simply smiled. Xu Xian looked toward Westlake. "It's a beautiful morning. Would you like to walk together for a while?" Bai Suzhen glanced at Xiaoqing. Xiaoqing smiled. "Don't worry about me. I'll enjoy the scenery."
I think Xiaoqing knows exactly what she's doing.
Bai Suzhen smiled. "I'd be happy to." Together, they began walking along the shore of Westlake, talking as the gentle morning breeze rippled across the water.
And that's where we'll leave today's story.
Thank you for joining us on Tales from the Jade Scroll. We hope you enjoyed the beginning of The Legend of the White Snake. In the next episode, we will continue this legend. Bai Suzhen and Xiaoqing will spend more time together, and their friendship will begin to grow into something much deeper.
Until then, take care, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye, and thank you for listening.